Welcome back to another Tool Day Tuesday. I hope you got a chance to check out our last video where we took a look at the measuring tools that we keep around the shop. Today, we're going to get our hands on the tools that we use to mark out our measurements. So the first marking instrument we're going to look at today are pencils. I have a few different kinds here. I have some Picas, I have some Bic mechanical pencils, I have some drafting mechanical pencils, and then I have these type of carpenter pencils. These are kind of cool. They remind me of the pencils I used to buy at the book fair at school, where when you use a piece, you can take it out and then shove it in the back, and another piece comes out. So I enjoy these. I don't use them very much. I use them for marking rough lumber when I'm getting ready to break down. But once I got these Picas, I started using these a lot more. Next marking instrument I have are these Pica pencils. I have them indicated with color caps to determine what color the lead is. I have this white one, which I use this one for rough layout on walnut. I have this red one, which I use for rough layout on lighter color woods like ash and maple. And then I just have the green one to indicate the traditional lead color, which I use on different areas of rough layout. The next marking instrument we're going to talk about are markers. These are Sharpies that I keep around the shop. I mostly use these when I'm marking rough lumber or if I'm making marks on anything that pencil or a marking knife won't stay on, say metal or plastic. Those are great use cases to use a permanent marker. Dark lines are easy to see in contrast and they hold up well on metal if I need to mark a spot to drill or cut. Another marking instrument in the shop that I don't use a whole lot is a marking gauge. When I'm laying out box joints or dovetails, this does get used, but other than that, it's nice for laying long lines across pieces of the same length. So you'll make your adjustment, you set this up flat against the piece, and you can mark all the way down it, making a small line. The next marking instrument we're going to talk about is marking knives. I keep two. The first one I got was this Narex brand when I got off Amazon. I like it because it's a dual bevel and it has a flat edge, which is great when putting it against my reference measuring tool. So whether it be a combination square, a ruler, another piece of wood, I can put it against it flat and make sure I get an accurate mark on the piece. The benefit of using a marking knife over a pencil is the line is much smaller and much more accurate. The smaller the line, the less room of error when cutting or doing whatever you need to do. These are great for laying out dovetails or laying out intricate joinery. The second knife I got on Jonathan Katz Moses' site. It's a Damascus marking knife, and again, it has the dual bevel and the flat edge. And I keep this one on my apron just because it is absolutely beautiful. I love the craftsmanship of it. When we talk about marking tools, one tip that I want to give you guys is to try and keep your marking tool as vertical as possible. So with a pencil up against my combination square, keeping it vertical, making a line, I get a pretty thin, crisp line. If I angle it just 45 degrees, make it the same mark. I don't know how well it comes up on camera, but the left line is thinner than the right line. And that's bit me in the butt in the past when it messed up my tolerances just a little bit when fitting up a piece. When talking about marking knives, when I mentioned before about having the flat side, it's great because I can reference it right up against my combination square. So when we move to the piece, again, just like with a pencil, I want to keep it vertical. Light pass, a little heavier pass, even heavier last one. You get a real crisp, thin line. If you're not keeping it at as much of a straight angle and you alter off a little bit, light pass, a little heavier, a little heavier. I don't know if you can see, but not keeping it flat against the piece, I veered off and scratched my piece. And also, it's just a rougher line and it's a little thicker. So you're not going to get as tight of results. Another tip I want to give you guys is when you're marking a measurement off using a tape measure, instead of making a single line like this, if you notice, that one's not too bad. But when you make a single line, you only have one point of reference. And I had a lot of mistakes when I first started about being just off either side of my mark. So what I saw a lot of people doing is making a V. So I set the point to the measurement, align that way, back to the measurement, align that way. And then this point of the V tends to be much closer to my point of measurement than my single lines were. So going forward, I always use a V. So say I wanted to mark this at 12 inches using a straight line, I would just go and put it there. But if you actually take a look, that's about a 16th or 32nd off 12, as opposed to if I wanted to mark 13, make the mark, point, point, and then go to measure it. The point of that V is right at 13. So just a little thing to save you some frustration. Use a V or something similar instead of just a straight line. Well, that covers it for the tools that I use to make lines on wood. Do me a favor and comment below and let me know if there's any marking tools that you use that you'd like to see on a future Tool Day Tuesday. And again, I want to thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one.